who Reggie is outside of those avenues. And I just got to tell you, I'm super impressed. Amazing guy, good family guy, willing to do things for other people, which is exactly what we're trying to do here, is pass a positive, right? Yes. And when I look at you, that's what I see. I mean, you've been the NFL Football Man of the Year a couple times. You're constantly striving to do things for other people, and that is what we want to see. So I just want you to know that we appreciate that. We love watching it, and now we get an opportunity to kind of learn from you from a little bit.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Josh. And just so everybody knows, I have a bias toward bald people. So, I mean, I try to do things for everybody, but there is that bias.
I got in a lot quicker than others.
Yes.
It was good.
You come in here with this great haircut and all this product in. I'm like, come on, man.
Come back. On. We'll get you in next week. Well, tell us a little bit about you. Those that don't know you, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do. And
so I played for the Denver Broncos from 1991 through 1996, and then stayed here in Denver because I really love it here. Since then, I've been in all kinds of media. I was a radio talk show host for 7 years. I did television on and off part-time for about 22 years. I wrote a newspaper column for 14 years. I run a business called Corporate Kickoff, which is corporate motivational speaking and auctioneering for charity events. And I work at Universal Lending as the Director of Business Partnerships and work with guys like Josh to, we do a lot of projects to help build relationships with realtors, teach people about first-time home buying opportunities, and just kind of grow the knowledge base of people who understand what mortgages are all about.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't get that, Reggie does a lot. He is very busy, but everything he just talked about is trying to help other people. That's what I love about you, is you talked about the corporate kickoff, motivating, coaching, constantly driving business and helping other people grow their lives. So right. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you know, I feel like I've been the beneficiary of that my entire life, that I've had so many people who have helped me in my lifetime. You know, there was a moment when I was graduating from college, I told my dad, I said, hey, Dad, I want to buy gifts for these 5 people who really made a difference for me and helped me graduate from college. I was the first person in my family to go to college. And my dad looked at my list and he said, well, first of all, you have no money, which was his way of saying he wasn't going to give me the money. Yeah. And second of all, your list is too short. You know, you're thinking about the people who helped you right here in college, but you're not thinking about all those high school teachers, those high school coaches, those little league coaches, you know, all these people in your church, in your community who have, they've all made deposits into your life. They've all given you their time, their energy, their money, their love, and you can't possibly go back and try to repay all those people. Your duty is to move forward and give to others the exact same things that were given to you.
Wow, that's incredible. And what great message for your dad to send you, right? Saying, hey, I'm not going to give you the money, but I want you to look at this in the big perspective.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. Sure. You've done so much throughout your life, and you know, when you're doing those things, you got to constantly try to find a way to dig back in and find out what motivates you. What are those things that motivate you to keep you going and try the new things and get after things you do in your life?
You know, I have discovered one big important discovery I made pretty early in my life. I feel lucky. I was in the NFL and I made a lot of money. Yeah. Not a lot of money compared to my rookie salary was $70,000. So not a lot of money by modern standards, but a lot of money to be 23 years old. And I was able to discover very early in my life that money doesn't motivate me. I like having money, but it doesn't drive me. What really drives me is making an impact on people's lives. I love to grow. And I love seeing people grow. I mean, there's nothing better. I have a 14-year-old son. Nothing better than watching my 14-year-old son grow and develop a new skill. I have 3 employees. Nothing better than watching my employees grow and develop into some new talent and new experiences. At Universal Lending, watching new loan officers come into the business, and it's exciting to watch them grow and develop their talents. And so that's really my number one driving force, is that I love to see the growth of other people, of other organizations. It's why our auctioneering business has grown so fast and gotten so big that we help these charities, and our whole focus, I only recruit people who share this focus with me. It's like, we're not trying to be the most profitable auctioneering company. We're trying to be the most effective auctioneering company. And how do we do that?
Yeah, that last line, not trying to be the most profitable yet the most effective. That's touching people, right? That's doing the things. That's incredible. I hope you guys picked that up. That's a big message right there. When you got to a point in your career, all the different ones that you've had, when you started feeling kind of the success and feeling those things there, what are some of the daily, maybe weekly, monthly activities you put in place to not only keep you going, but also keep like the balance within your life?
That's tough because you have your career and you get excited about what you're doing and you want to do it more and more all the time, and it starts to eclipse every other part of your life. And I know that my health has suffered because the more successful my business has gotten, the worse my health has gotten, because there's a sacrifice. There's these trade-offs you have to make. And so the one thing I've learned how to do is to schedule the things that are important to me. I know that as a business person, I do what's in my schedule. You called me last week and said, hey, can we come and do this interview?
Yeah.
I put it on my calendar. I'm here when you show up to do this interview. That's the reality. And so I worked out this morning. And how did I work out? It was on my schedule. I'm, my son's activities, put them on my schedule. As soon as I know his football schedule, put it on my schedule. As soon as I know his basketball schedule, put it on my schedule, so that now I'm not booking over all these things that are important to me and to my family, my wife. Anything that's important to my wife, put it on my calendar. And that was a simple change, because I used to not put all my personal things on the calendar. We would just kind of do them as a family. But I would discover over and over, I would find my business running over my family time unless I blocked it out.
Yeah, I think that's a great comment. One of the things I know, I don't go to the gym unless I put it on, every day at 10:30.
Right.
Even if I don't go to the gym on that particular day, it eats me alive because I see it on my schedule that I didn't go to the gym. Right. So I think that is phenomenal, that to make sure that everything is scheduled, right? That's the only way you're going to find balance within your life, when you have all the different activities. We all play so many different roles within our lives. How do you balance those the right way? And Reggie pretty much hit that on the head, is put them on your schedule.
Right.
Make sure you do it. We've all come through our lives and had big moments or big pivotal moments that, maybe got us headed in the right direction or in any direction. What was one of those moments you've had in your life that you had that pivotal moment that got you headed?
I believe that in life in general, your successes build your confidence, but your failures build your character. And so for me, it was my second year in the NFL. I was a starter. I was a starting fullback, and my head was big. You couldn't say anything to me. If I had met you, I would say, "Hey, I'm Reggie Rivers, second year in the NFL." Number two. After making it as an undrafted free agent, I was such a long shot, and then to make it the second year, then become the starter, I was, and I was having a great year. So we had a game against Seattle. I think it was the second to the last game of that season, and I get the ball on the first drive, and I'm going down the field. I'm right at the goal line. I get hit by two guys, and I fumble. Ball rolls out of the back of the end zone, and Seattle takes over. First and 10 at the 20. Later in that same game, I jumped off sides. I got a holding penalty, and I fumbled again. And so from being big ego, big head, to just feeling humiliated, professionally humiliated. This was the worst game of my life on any level. And to go home and think, well, I'm going to get fired. There's no way I'm going to survive this. Right. And when I went in, the Broncos didn't fire me. Dan Reeves hardly said anything. He just said, Reggie, hold on to the ball, son. And so I had to go home and really think about, why did when I woke up that next day, I was Reggie the Fumbler Rivers. Right, that's who I had re-identified myself. Yeah. I was embarrassed to go pick up my newspaper out front because I thought my neighbors would see me. In the grocery store, I thought people were like, oh, he dropped the milk, he's got problems. I just thought everyone was going to think of me as the fumbler. And when my coach didn't, and they didn't fire me, I had to go home and really think about, why did I just redefine myself based on my lowest professional moment?
Yeah.
And I started thinking about, well, we all do that. Whatever it is that happens to us, you go through a divorce, you redefine yourself. Your kids are not doing well in school, you redefine yourself. And so I think the pivotal moment for me was to start to recognize, I'm not my best moments and I'm not my worst moments. I'm me.
Yeah.
And it's a consistent thing, regardless whether things are up or down. So don't get too down on myself when things go bad, and don't believe too much of the headlines when things are going well.
No, I think that's awesome. From my interview from last week, Jessica Kidd, she mentioned that you got to be immune to other people's opinions of you. And you go out and you read the newspaper, and all of a sudden we're Reggie the Fumbler Rivers.
Right.
You got to be immune to those things and be able to move on and be you, right? And kind of create your future. So that's huge, and that's on a different scale than a lot of people get experience, because you have so many people watching that.
Right.
And the fact that you were able to bounce back from that and have the career that you did and have the career that you have going on, that just says a lot about you.
Well, thank you.
So that's pretty incredible.
Thank you.
You've had a lot of people you mentioned that have been impacting your life. Can you name one, maybe two people that had that huge impact, and what was it, and how did they, guide you to where you're at?
Sure. Well, the most obvious is obviously my father, which I always knew that, but when I became a father, I really understood it because I have a 14-year-old son now, and so I know that he's mirroring everything that I do. It's not just the things that I tell him to do, which he ignores completely, but what he's not ignoring is my tone of voice when I talk to my wife, my tone of voice when I'm on the phone or in the car, my tone of voice when I talk to him. And so I realized how much I learned from my dad, and without even really thinking about it. Like I'm a professional speaker and I have my own style, and when I go on stage, I feel like I made this up. I've put this all together. This is me. This is what I do. Well, my dad's a Baptist preacher, and when I go down to Georgia and I go to his church, I watch him up in the pulpit, and I'll be danged. That's my move. I used that last week, and I'm looking. I'm like, I am exactly like him.
Wow,
and I had no perception of it. So obviously, my dad had just had this tremendous impact. He was a great guy, father of 5 children. Great husband. My parents have now been married. They got married in 1960, so they're coming up on, or just 57 years this year.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And so he was huge impact. And then outside of my family, there was a professor in college named Gary Rice, who my first year in journalism, I was a reporting one. He was my reporting one teacher, and he said, "You've got a lot of writing ability, and I think you would be a good reporter. Are you interested in getting an internship at the Austin American Statesman?" And I did, and I ended up being an intern there for the next 3 years. One year I was intern of the year in the state of Texas.
Wow.
But it was because of this guy. He would send me out on stories. Like by myself, he'd say, "Hey, there's a fire at such and such. Reggie, you're up." And I didn't feel like I was ready for that, but it really taught me this concept that I still believe to this day. We're not going to push you in the water before you're ready to swim, but as soon as you're ready to swim, we're going to push you in the water.
Yeah.
And you might not be comfortable, but that push, and he pushed me throughout all of that time and continued after my career. I think he pushed me more than my football coaches pushed me, and I needed that, and it gave me the confidence that I could do more than I thought I could do.
Right. And the confidence in so many different arenas in your life. You knew it wasn't just on the football field where you felt comfortable every day.
Right.
This is something new. This is something where maybe you didn't have that experience, and he's like, "I don't care.
Yeah.
There you go. I know you got the floaties on. Go swim."
Exactly.
Nice. That's awesome. 2 great role models, 2 great people that have been in your life to help kind of guide you. So, kind of finish off, what's one thing that you could give everybody out there that you've implemented in your life that they might be able to implement in their life to, help them get into a better situation?
Right. It's the thing that I do whenever I'm trying to accomplish anything. So I've published 6 books. People ask me, "How do you write a book?" And I'm like, yeah, you write it 1 page at a time. You don't think about it as you're writing a book. And it sounds simple. How do you lose 20 pounds? Well, you watch what you're putting in your mouth. And so what I really have focused on is I have a TED Talk out there. People can find it on YouTube. The title is, if you want to achieve your goals, don't focus on them. And so it's counterintuitive because we tend to think, hey, my goal is, like, let's say your goal. My goal is I want to help 150 families this year to buy homes and have the experience of home ownership. Well, if you just focus on this 150,
right,
you're never going to achieve that goal. And so now you say, okay, that's my goal. I want to do that. So here's family number 1. And you pour all of your effort and attention into family number 1 and say, what can I do for this family? How do I get them where they're trying to go? And then they introduce you to family number 2. And then you go. And so you've set this goal, but then take your eye off the goal and start focusing on your behaviors. What can you do today, tomorrow, and this week that will move you in the direction of your goal? Because that's all you have control over. You don't have control over the goal itself.
Wow. I don't even know if I could say anything after that, because I might have to re-record this and watch it several times so I can get that concept. That is amazing. But that's, it's one of the things I think we can all do is focus on what's in front of us, right? We know what our big picture goal is. We know how we want to get there, but making sure we do everything the right way, and we'll get there eventually.
Right.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. As a running back, it's funny, just kind of a follow-up comment. As a running back, my goal is always to score a touchdown, but as soon as they put the ball in my hands, my goals are immediate. It's like, I got to get past that 300-pound guy. Everything else is irrelevant. If I don't get past him, I'm not. And if I do get past him, now I got this 250-pound guy. And so you just learn how to incrementally focus on just what's in front of you.
I hope you guys can see where all of the challenges that he had within his career on the football field, he's able to